Found mainly in Asia, they get their name from the circle on the back of their head resembling a monocle. These cobras are lightning fast, with a lethal venom. So toxic, it can take down an elephant with a single bite.
And every time they chomp down, they inject more venom, and more venom, and more venom.
Few people know more about deadly snakes than David Weathers.
Walking into this room is like walking into a room of death. Any animal in this room can take any person, probably take any 5 or 6 people out with just one bite.
David is an exotic animal handler. Some criticize him for working with animals they say should be left in the wild. And David knows if he loses focus for even a split second, he could die. And that petrifies his girlfriend, Shauna Loxo.
At any given time, something could happen, and they are deadly animals and could kill him in 2 seconds.
It's like Russian roulette. I mean, how many times can you spin that barrel before one goes off?
And on this night, the chamber is loaded with a monocled cobra. David's friend catches it all on a home video camera. In that first terrifying split second, David believes the cobra's quarter-inch venomous fangs snag only his sweatshirt. Then, the horrifying reality.
I'm bit. You gotta go to the hospital.
David's been bitten. Slowing down the tape, you can clearly see it happen. As David tries to put the 5-foot cobra away, it springs back up and gets set to strike. In less than half a second, literally the blink of a human eye, its fangs are embedded in David's belly. Luckily, David's hand pushes the lid down. The cobra could have grabbed his throat. These lethal vipers aim for a vein or an artery when they strike. That way, their venom travels through the body 10 times faster. The cobra's venom is a neurotoxin. It attacks the nervous system, causing paralysis, suffocation, and finally, complete respiratory failure. In a human, the venom will destroy tissue and shut down your kidneys, your lungs, and even your heart. It can kill an average-sized man in 30 minutes. Now, the race is on to save David's life.
The panic had struck both of us, actually, because we both realized that we had no anti-venom. I knew it was a race against time.
Albert Signori, who videotaped the Cobra strike, has handed off the camera to another friend in the back seat and is now behind the wheel, rushing David to the hospital.
There's a scratch where he went for a second bite. There's a fang mark there and a scratch here. All that in there is localized venom that's starting to go through my system. We get the... I can't even talk. Sorry. Hello. Sorry, sweetie. Listen, I'm on my way to the hospital. I just got bit by a cobra real bad. I'm having problems breathing.
And I was doing a good 95, 100 miles an hour through traffic lights.
Start hogging your horn. Just hog your horn. Lay on your horn.
I would think that is a good possibility by his reactions that he could actually die either way.
I squeezed out as much venom as I could. There was definitely amber venom coming out of the wound on both sides. I'd probably end up going into like respiratory failure here pretty quick.
That's why I just put my foot to the metal and went as fast as I could to get there.
15 minutes after the bite, most people would be in shock or absolute panic. But David, who's been around deadly snakes since he was 10, knows he has to stay calm. If his heart rate goes up, the venom will pump through his body even faster. It's already starting to feel like acid on his stomach.
I feel worse than I'm being stabbed in the stomach. Bad.
A cobra, unlike most venomous snakes, has fixed fangs. Since they are non-retractable, cobras will continue to bite their prey until it's dead. That's what this one tried to do to David.
His wound was turning blacker and blacker, and it looked like it was just ready to explode any minute.
This has got to be One of the most painful bites that I've ever had. I think mainly where the bite is what's hurting so much, directly below my belly button. You see the discoloration in my stomach.
Every second was critical. Every second that went by was a little bit closer to his death.
Albert called the hospital on the way, but forgot to ask one critical question. Did they have anti-venom? When he finally reaches the ER and rushes David inside, the horrifying answer. The hospital has no anti-venom.
His health was in great danger.
It's been almost a half an hour since the bite, and Dr. Tucker Green knows David is living on borrowed time.
People can go downhill very fast and die right in front of you, even after they had been fine for 30 minutes. The unpredictability of the envenomation is what makes it very dangerous.
There's no alternative to anti-venom serum when it comes to a snake bite.
Al Cruz, who heads up a special medical unit called Venom 1, has the anti-venom. But he's 2 hours away by chopper. David could be dead by the time he gets there. Al Cruz is shocked when he finally arrives at the hospital.
David was there laying in bed telling me, "I feel fine." I said, "You've just been hit by one of the deadliest cobras in the world. You're far from fine."
David's immediately given 5 vials of the anti-venom. It's supposed to neutralize the cobra's venom and stop it from spreading throughout the body. But it's not working.
His blood work was so dangerously high, his kidneys were ready to shut down on him.
Despite the risk of an overdose, David's given 5 more vials. And finally, pulls out of it.
I took the snake and I threw it back into the box, but kind of leaned backwards. And the skeletal structure of a snake doesn't bend backwards, it only bends forward. It kind of sprung back towards me. As I was closing the lid, it came right out of that box. I saw it coming out. I went to back away, and that day I wasn't fast enough. And it grabbed hold of my stomach, and I literally pulled the whole snake out of the box by my stomach. I knew how bad it was. When you can squeeze a wound and pull venom out of it, there's a lot in there because it travels so fast through your body, and I just said, we need to go to the hospital.
Doctors at the hospital saved David's life, but the cobra's tissue-toxic venom has eaten a baseball-sized hole in his stomach.
When I see myself in the mirror here and I'm looking, I got a hole in my stomach.
If you look closely in it, you can see the lining of my intestinal tract and all that stuff. So now I was concerned that I'm walking around with this exposed hole in my stomach, and doctors had said it could take up to a year to heal.
But David tries an experimental treatment called platelet-rich plasma, using David's own blood cells. The gaping hole in his stomach miraculously heals within 2 weeks.
This is pretty much what I ended up with, is that little tiny scar, and it was a big hole.
All emotional scars of the near-lethal bite are also gone. At least for David.
I couldn't imagine it any other way but to be with him.
Shauna only saw the cobra bite on videotape, but she has seen David near death in the hospital, and that haunts her.
And I saw him. I just told him that I loved him. And it was just so scary. It was the scariest day of my life. Because the person I'm in love with was laying on a hospital bed, almost dying.